Morning, everybody. Michelle is here. I think it's a Monday today. Yes, Monday, December the 9th, 2024. And I wanted to get on up this morning because, I have a busy schedule ahead for me. But I'm working on a series called The Pitfalls of Interpersonal Relationships. And, the other day I was listening to someone very powerful talking. And this person had a history of predator behavior. Okay, in other words, this person was a serial womanizer. This is just my opinions based on what the news media spouts out. What I read, because let me tell you this. For a while, I stopped using cable for a while, because first of all, because I was not able to watch it. Okay, and I was paying at one point sometimes over $200 for not the best channels. I mean, I usually watch one or two channels, and I was paying over $200 for that. So I stopped using cable a while ago. At first, I started using streaming, and then I started with the streaming service, which turned out it was great in the beginning, but the same thing started happening. It starts out great, like $20, and then before you know it, you're paying almost $150. So the prices kept going up. So I don't use streaming service as well. And so every now and then I'll get some free streaming service, blah, 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 blah. So my point is, what I and others, we used to rely on is what the media was telling us. We did. And sometimes the newspaper. And I told you that was a lot of misconceptions intentionally. It was a way to signal out misinformation, make it us against them, the rich, the poor, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, and I've talked about that, and plenty of times, and I'm thankful that other people are figuring things out as well. And and that's the whole idea. We're here to help people, and help people to think for themselves, because that is what's that's the fatality of a lot of people. You're going to be just an empty shell of a person if you're not thinking for yourself. And so that's just a recap of what I'm doing with this series of The Pitfalls of Interpersonal Relationships. But anyway, I was listening. I was, going around on the channel that I use, in the atmosphere of stuff that I use, and listening to conversations, which I love to do. I love to just sit and listen to people talk and just see how I can understand people, because we have a catastrophic ability. Some of us, it's about lying. That's the point I'm attempting to make. We have such a I think if I'm not mistaken, that has become such a skill that a lot of people have. It's a pathological liars. Okay, they're pathological liars. And this one particular person that was talking, and they're oratory types as well. They're pathological liars, oratories. And they are also those clerics that I introduced, that term that was introduced to us, clerics, CHOLERIC. Okay, and they call it a temperament. Okay, easily angered and bad tempered. And the thing about the clerics, in my opinion, they can mask behind a smile. They can get in front of the camera and they just talk with so much confidence and so much, and you're like, wow. But then talk to the people that deal with the clerics behind the scenes, and you'll get almost a completely different person. it's a completely different person, and they'll say, well, and usually anyone involved with the cleric are constantly covering for them. Well, he was a little bit upset, always covering for him. And usually they're men, the ones that, what I'm talking about, the men are usually the ones that are so, they come across as so powerful and all knowing and all this strength, and they're similar to a narcissistic, sociopath, psychopath. I mean, the wording, we need to get away from how we are using these kind of identifying characteristic of people, because a lot of people are so sophisticated and they know how to mask that part of themselves so that you don't know that they have that type of characteristic. I mean, they're very good at morphing. You talk about what they call them, shape shifters. Okay, I mean, that's almost a perfect example of them. They know how to morph themselves into a different person based on who they're dealing with. Okay, and so a lot of people, that's why politicians are great at that. Politicians are the experts at choleric behavior, these oratories, and they usually are pathological liars. Some of these politicians of today and yesterday, blah blah blah. All right, so I was listening to this person. I got plenty of videos on that as well. Liars, just liars, pathological, sociopaths, psychopath, narcissistic. We're kind of putting them in the same bucket. Crabs in the bucket. Okay, so we've kind of put them in that same, but it's psychological. I mean, it's pathological. It's deeply wedged in a behavior of somebody, and usually it started with self-hatred, though. It started with self-hatred, and then it kind of treated itself out into all of these characteristics or traits or whatever we want to call them. Compulsive liars and pathological liars. A lot of people keep trying to, it's a way of confusing you, and having things just go by you. And you're like, oh, I missed that. What? And then, you attempt to get people to repeat themselves. So it's so important to have people repeat stuff to you. And so that you'll make sure, okay, wait, whoa, what's just happened there? What did you just throw past me? So they're very, very, some of them, I'm not people in general when we're talking, but I'm saying the ones that are intentionally seeking advantage over you by any means necessary, whether it's financially and more so sexually, and they get you kind of, you're in a web, you're kind of stuck in a web of their reality, and you dismiss your own, you don't, and so that's why I say you have to build trust in yourself. If you're not building trust in yourself and you trust yourself, that's how you get strung in, okay? As a video I put out there, I trust myself. Okay, so if anything happens that causes me some, whatever it causes me, I'll take full responsibility for that. But trust me, I'm going to do everything in my power for that not to happen again. Where I get myself into a dangerously vulnerable position. Okay, so our interpersonal relationships are, a lot of our interpersonal relationships have been severed, okay, and they will not, for the remainder of my lifetime. I just don't see anything changing, because it's so beneficial. People that have this type of power, like politicians, celebrities, or whoever they are, we create them. There are Frankensteins. There are a symbol of that Frankenstein mentality. In other words, we created these monsters, and so we're worshiping them, as such. We worship them as kings and queens and, billionaire boys club, or women's club. We've horsed them up, to be who they are. We keep the illusions going. Put it that way. We keep the illusions going about these, to raise up, to lift up. We are the ones lifting these dangerous predatory type people. We are the ones responsible. And I say we as the, the collective of we. Even though we have disconnected ourselves, we still are the ones that keep this hierarchical status of people going and going and going and going and going and going. It's maddening, and I think that's the reason for the migraines and this and that and the other, because of the way how we thinking about people, our thought process or lack thereof. A lot of it is just not properly thinking. So, I was, like I said, doing my rounds, listening to videos here, listening to videos there. I love to do that. I love to know, okay, what's really going on? And then I'll see what's going on in the social media platform, in the internet platform, and then I'll go outside and I do a comparative as to, okay, what is real and what's fantasy and illusion. A lot of it is illusion on the social media platform. Okay, it's a lot of illusions, but a lot of us are just doing everything we can to be creative just to get through. I need to get my message through. I need to get my information through. So it's not deterring me from what I'm doing. I know it's about energy. Okay, I know it's about energy, sounds and tones. And we all have a consciousness, subconsciousness, and elements of ourselves that is untouchable, actually. Especially if we've worked on ourselves and fortified the strength within of who we are. We can pick up, I miss things all the time. I remember as a first responder, I told you, the way I used to listen to people. I used to do a perimeter to say, okay, is this a safe place to be? But I'm still listening to them. And sometimes certain things will capture my attention. I'm like, whoa. And then I'll say, well, okay, can you repeat that? And in some cases, pathological liars cannot, but we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into the psychology and of that right now. There, in other words, there's some signs that we often miss. And I'm talking about these intentional, pathological, deceptive type of personalities, manipulative, very dangerous, very dangerous to our society. Okay. So I was listening to this person that I have no respect. Well, let me put it this way. It's not that I don't have respect for them. I think that they are just very sophisticated, just like any of all the rest of them. Okay, they're very sophisticated, and they're very cunning, and just, in other words, they're experts at what they do. These are fortified experts at deception and manipulation. That's why they are able to stay in that so-called respectability hierarchical status. Okay, and a lot of people do not realize the damage some of these people have caused. But at some point we will realize it, and I say in the distant future. We're going to realize that these so-called hierarchical leaders were nothing more, nothing less than acute criminal energy elements of people. In other words, their whole desires and their whole intentions and purposes was about suppression and oppression, predatory, because, back in the day, when we used to think about, creepiness of people, that creepy, dangerous, potentially serial killer in the make, if given a little bit more, if some of the restraints were off. In other words, if we didn't have all these cameras, if we didn't have all of this, if our population wasn't so massive as it is, those particular type of personalities they would have had free reign, like back in the 1600s, where there was not many people on the planet, But then that's when everything started exploding. And so, and then we remember about about all these so-called serial killers that we are so fascinated with. And a lot of people are I'm fascinated with it because I want to understand what is going on. And I say 99% of the time is something that happened in their adolescence, or it could have happened in their womb while they were in the womb, while they were in the womb of their biological mother. Okay. But it starts there, and it can work its way into the adolescence. But it starts with self-hatred. There's a certain self-hatred about themselves that they picked it up very, very early. Self-hatred, it's just a self-hatred. Let me see how I know this word has been self-loathing. They say it's a personal self-hatred. Personally, they hate themselves, so they have to put out this kind of mask of a person, and it works for them to get what they want, because they're coming from a poisoning of their reality anyway, which is which started with their thoughts, the thoughts of self-hatred. They hate themselves, and it could be for any number of reasons. And so when you talk to these people that are so-called successful, especially politicians, celebrities, they always tell you about all this trauma they've gotten over, and there's some deception there, but they always tell you how powerful and wonderful they are because they were able to get over certain things. And now that they're in a celebrity status, they're supposed to be the ones that are heroes and role models for our children and descendants. Okay. And I think a lot of people are picking that up too, how deceptive and you need to be your own hero. And that starts with evolving your consciousness, and you need me to help you to do so that you can recognize things, and so you can help your children and this and that and the other. So I was listening to this person speak. This person is definitely a pathological liar, an oratory type, a choleric. And it all starts from self-hatred, because I remember how this person used to describe themselves when they were younger. Apparently they were bullied, okay, and teased about their looks, okay. So this person was talking, and I don't know this person personally, but we thought this person was our savior. We gave this person a savior complex. Like I said, we did that. We as individuals gave this person this kind of title. And so that just feeds that kind of ego of those destructive, a person who rescues another from harm, danger, or loss. One who serves, preserves, delivers from destruction or danger. Okay, pay attention to that savior complex that we give these people, because they were able to kind of manipulate and deceive themselves through the channels of our lives, okay, through the channels of our consciousness, our psyche, and get us all whipped up into a frenzy about how wonderful we think these people are. The women have it I told you, with that criminal energy. They know how to move those hips. They know how to bat them eyes. It's and like I said, it's an intentional deception and manipulation. Normally people that are, I love feminine energy. I love it. But I know right away when I'm being manipulated and deceived too. I know. I'm old enough to know better. I've had many encounters with people, so I know. But I'll sit there and enjoy it. But I'm saying, and I don't deal with that though. So I don't have any issues with it. I don't deal with criminal energy. Okay, I do not. I allow it to exist because you have to. But you need to be able to recognize it, and so what I deal with genuine, bona fide, good people that are not perfect though. and that includes myself. Okay, I kind of I attract now, and you will once you understand who you are, what you are, why you are, good uh, good people. The kind of people that that warms my heart. That metaphor. So in other words, I was listening to this person speak, and yeah, this person was a predator. Okay, they were a predator. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. A pathological predator, and definitely a pathological liar, and of course, an oratory, and sophisticated. They, and like I said, they have self-hatred for themselves, but they know how to, like I said, morph themselves into a perfect woman, into a perfect man. But deep within, they hate themselves. They have self-loathing, poisoning of their thoughts. So, like I said, it's past a phenomenon. It has become a character trait of people and the psychiatrists and psychologists, all they're doing is confusing us. I hope I'm doing everything I can to speak directly, clearly, and effectively. But the psychiatrists keep confusing everybody because they rely so much on labeling, and not understanding the coreness of what they have before them, or what we have before us in our communities, in our societies, who are leading us, who are teaching our children, who are, and it has nothing to do with their sexuality. It has nothing to do with how they're identifying. This is a core, deep within trait that they can morph themselves into whoever they want. They can call themselves whatever they want. It's all about okay, it's a predator, and they're very, very good at it. And in my opinion, it was built up over lifetimes. It was something that was stored in their memories based on their lineage of past lives. Let's just, and so stuff just started building up, and it's not a cause, it's not a cause and effect. I mean, it's not karma or anything. It's just a part of an element of how we are developed that gets stored in our consciousness and our subconscious. And all it takes is the right trigger. I'm listening to this man. I'm listening to this person speak. And it's not so much as, okay, so he said something that just bothered me. I didn't know this was going to go so long. But he said something that bothered me. This person, like I said, he victimized women. But be very, very careful. I'm going to end it here. You think about this. Be very, very careful when the predator is praising the victim. Okay? Be very mindful of when the predator is praising the victim. Okay, so I'm going to stop right here and go ahead and start my day and come back to this. But yes, this is another part of the series of our interpersonal relationships, the pitfalls of our interpersonal relationships, and how they are so degenerate collectively, so degenerate, so dangerous, and you need to be able to recognize it so that you could properly navigate yourself out of these situations with these people. We're going to have to teach each other how to collapse these hierarchical systems of people with quote unquote power, because they're the ones suppressing us, oppressing us, and at some point going to destroy us all. Okay? Peace and love, and trust me, I'll be back.